We made the same mistake that a lot of academics make, which is we had a solution in search of a problem.
Right.
We thought we knew the problem. It wasn't totally naive in the sense of the strategy, but we were naive to what the actual problems were in industry. We listened to those early. We knew to do that, and so pivoted along the way. Being a bootstrapped company, meaning that we survived on revenues, we didn't go seek an investment on day one or really since then, meant that we had to listen to what the market was telling us because it was the only way we were going to keep the lights on and survive.
Right, right. And what was that problem that you eventually ended up addressing and solving for your the market?
It's not about selling people. It's not about pulling wool over their eyes. It's about,
Helping
you're looking for X and here's what I can provide. That is X. So that was also very informative for me. So coming back to kind of those experiences you have before and what makes you unique is important.
It seems like you pull these insights from all these different domains, your experiences, and trying to notice, these analogous, as you're mentioning, advice or key factors in different domains, even Shark Tank or even your work at LensCrafters, leaning into automation, leaning into your network whenever possible, getting the word out is key. And yeah, just being open to finding these specific insights from wherever you might previously not think to find those. So keeping that open mind is important, I guess.
You need to contribute. You'll get back what you put in. An unsolicited advice for any students listening is to go to those things and try and build those relationships. If you're trying to build those relationships when you need them and like when you're looking for a job, it's too late. It's really hard to organically build that kind of trust and confidence early on, like immediately.
Immediately, of course.
You should build it early on.
Right.
And maybe you won't need it tomorrow. Maybe you don't need it the next day. But the more and more network you can build, the more you can call on it when you need it. And so we take that position as well. There are times where we're looking for somebody all of a sudden, and we didn't know that we were going to be looking for that person. Some opportunity came up or some expertise is needed or something. And then we can kind of go back to our kind of, unofficial Rolodex of, hey, we know these people, they have these expertise. We already kind of have a confidence in them, a trust that they align with our mission, with our company values. Let's call them up and see what they're up to, see if they're graduating soon, see if they're looking for an internship. Learn that like any interaction is an interview of sorts, any relationship building is, you're building for the future of that relationship. Did I know it was a formal interview? No. I got the schedule, the more information I got about the day, the more I understood that what it was going to be like. But it was a full day there, presenting with the group, meeting with everybody, kind of one-on-one, lunch, dinner. It was really full day. The unfortunate piece was that my sister went into labor that night.
Oh, wow.
So I actually bolted from the dinner a little bit early because I had to hop on the train to head down south to then stay at the hospital for 3-4 hours after that. Wow, so it was a really long day. But all is well. I got an offer to join the lab. My nephew was born healthy. But we need to work all together, and we need to be, someone who's now an advisor to us, but has been a long-standing figure in our community. Didier Lecomte said at an event that everybody in their roles need to have courage to take a risk, to participate, and to contribute. And when you say you need to have courage to take a risk, it's because you might fail. And a lot of people are wary of that. They want the sure thing, the sure bet. It's very much a Canadian mentality as well, unfortunately. It doesn't mean we're not capable of it. But certainly the life science community requires, the growth of the life science community requires that we take those risks and collectively have that courage to go together and take chances. Building an ecosystem doesn't happen in a day, and it doesn't happen by one person. And there are lots of people that do the same thing. They try to inspire, the next generation of students to take up the mantle. I'm small potatoes compared to those folks. But I love when I see, even if it's not
but you do your part at the same time.
I try.
It's
I try. There's no guarantees, and there's no straight lines that are drawn back, anywhere. It's a lot of factors that come in.
mhm.
I think everybody kind of, again, making their contribution and, feeling that sense of pride in the community as a whole growing. We want to be able to say, hey, we're a company based in Montreal, and someone in Boston or in San Diego, San Francisco, or in Germany or Switzerland or the UK, they say, oh, I take that seriously, and that
Yeah.
comes with weight. We only ever put out one hiring ad, and it was the first person we ever formally hired.
Okay.
I just put out I had no idea what I was doing, and I put out a very generalist call over
Yeah.
Twitter, what was formerly known as Twitter,
Yeah.
and maybe LinkedIn as well, basically saying, this is what we're doing. I don't know what this job will entail. There's a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunity to be creative with it, but we knew that we needed extra help,
Somebody, yeah.
extra hands,
Mhm.
extra brain. Somebody, thankfully, replied to that call,
Yeah.
and it was great. Really worked out in a lot of ways. Probably lucky for both of us, because I think we
Yeah.
both took a lot of risk in that type of
I'm sure as well somebody who sees the
relationship.
post and just decides, oh yeah, let me just
Yeah.
sign up and
Yeah, so
apply to
I'm
this job.
I'm I'm deeply grateful to her for taking that chance on me.
Hmm.
It worked out, thankfully, I think, for both of us. But it just kind of rolled from there, and since then we've never put out a scientific hiring ad. We've always built relationships with students prior at conferences, at different networking events.
Being afraid of failing and rather failing faster if possible, and then
If you're going to be an
learning from
entrepreneur,
that.
absolutely. Even
Mhm.
if you're going to join a company, having an entrepreneur's mentality of, I want to contribute
Right.
meaningfully, strategically, creatively, super important, and companies will see value in that
Hmm.
compared to, I'm just looking for a job and it doesn't really matter where it is.
Right. 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 And I think you're doing the right part in going to these events and kind of transmitting that vision to the younger students, myself included, and all these aspiring individuals that want to get into the field but maybe lack a bit of guidance and vision. Having that kind of mentality of, you know, getting deep into it, not fearing failure necessarily, and trying to make an impact really personally, for perhaps some kind of greater good or your own sense. But that's something very important. I'm glad that you're going about.
I'm probably underpaid for my job and what I do, but I am paid substantially in my freedom and my time. And that's what's important to me. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong.
Hmm.
That's just what's for me.
Hmm.
There are other entrepreneurs, I have friends, colleagues that they live it very differently, and they love it. And that's
Everybody
great.
has
We
their own
need
values, of
all
course.
kinds. What's important, I think, as an entrepreneur is that you also have your team live by kind of a similar set of values.
Right. It's that
So when
culture
my
fit.
team has family things, they want some time off, um, they have other priorities in life that is not their work. I have to be understanding of that, and I more than am.
Hmm.
People bring their full selves here. They are themselves. Um, that's it's important. Again, with the view on people being here long term, enjoying what they do, not dreading coming to work, not being a
Hmm.
flash in the pan and burning out from there. Um, Having that mentality means that we attract a certain type of people here. And I'm biased, but I'd like to think that people here are happy.
Spreading that vision because it's something that people need as well. Not just it's difficult to do it yourself when there's nobody else giving you that.
We go through elementary and high school trying to fit in and trying to be the same as everybody. From that point forward, once you leave high school, your goal is to distinguish yourself as much as possible. What makes you different?
Hmm.
And that's sometimes hard in A, the mentality change, B, sometimes it feels lonely to
Hmm.
be different, and you don't want that. Um, and C, we're surrounded by like-minded people, and so it dilutes achievements.
Hmm.
That's another thing that I frequently tell students: go to your graduations. Some people see it as a chore. I see it as an opportunity to celebrate yourself.
Hmm.
And in the broader world, it's a huge achievement to get a bachelor's of arts, a bachelor's of science, to get a master's degree, a PhD. a lot of people brush this off because they're on to the next thing, and everybody around them in their research lab is getting the same achievement.
Right.
But that's, sometimes 5 people, 10 people.
It's just perspective. In a
That's
certain
it.
sense.
That's it. You can control creating the possibility of opportunity.
Right.
You can't necessarily always create the opportunity itself. And I think
Okay.
that as a student, that can always sometimes be challenging. When a company turns you away for a job position, it may just be bad timing. It may have nothing to do with you. And it's sometimes hard to accept that there's nothing else you could have done. In some ways, that's comforting. I know that I speak from a position of privilege to say that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not necessarily because you
But
did
not
anything wrong. It's not because, and that happens in entrepreneurship too, right? You build a company at just the wrong time.
right.
A lot of people will reflect on big companies like Airbnb, like Uber, and
Yeah.
and
A lot of it's timing too.
for sure, it's needs of society, it's needs of community, and they were right for the time they were built.